It's tough to get going, eh?
I find the hardest part is getting going.
Yep.
It's because you sit there and you have an idea of where you want to start and what you want to talk about, but it's like that segue into it. Because I know you, and so it's like, oh, this is my friend Brady.
That's why I don't do an intro online. I just like
I can
Trina
see why
tells
not.
me that we're rolling, and I'm like, all right.
I think what I'm going to do is have a cold intro where something that interesting you've said, put that at the front.
Yep.
And then have the, kind of intro music, and then introduce you, Brady Rogers, director of, see?
You had it, director of photography.
Yeah, DOP. I'm so used to saying a DOP or DP that I actually had to think about what it actually meant. We have been working together now for about a year.
Not even, actually.
Not even, yeah.
I guess it'd be, May it'd be a year.
Yeah.
Yep.
Today I want to really deep dive on one subject. And I know that's going to be strange for us to talk about one thing and not bounce around all over the place.
The hardest part about doing a podcast.
It is. And like for full transparency, Brady and I run AMP Studios, and so we spend a lot of time together, so we will often go off on tangents, and yeah.
One of us goes off on tangents more than the other. Right, Phil?
Reverse camera, whip camera to like, yeah. So Brady, you are a very new entrepreneur, production manager. Like, introduce yourself and what you do.
Yeah.
now.
So we've done one networking event together. I don't know how to introduce myself at all. I call myself a director of photography, a very new early director of photography. I run Mind Fusion Visuals, which is my production company, that basically only exists because I fell into it. Like, I was not planning on starting a production company. I was just going to freelance, do the gun for hire thing, and basically come out when you needed me and a few other, friends and clients needed me. But now it's turned into, you do enough ad work that it's been enough for me to turn this into a business and a proper production company, which has been really interesting and terrifying at the same time. But that's a very brief synopsis on
I
myself.
like that. I think that's a good synopsis, because
Weird
you were accelerated
big time.
big time,
Yeah,
because
big
you
time.
are 26, 27
I'm 26. I'll be 27 this year.
this year. Yeah. So before you started running Mind Fusion, you were a producer.
Yeah. A producer is a very broad term. I was like, I was basically editing, producing, directing, running camera, being a DP on smaller budget projects and a few bigger ones, but producer was like the broad term for a non-union creator, if you want to call it that. But creator is kind of a weird term nowadays.
Well, creator kind of is a solo kind of project in a way. I find, like, when someone says, "Oh, I'm a creator," it's like, oh, you stick a camera up, you film what you do, and then you build content based on that.
That's right.
I find it really interesting that you came from the world of being an employee to the world of freelance. And so I would really like to cover that topic today and all the different kind of shades of gray that you go through when you start doing the switch from being an employee to freelance. I want to take you back to kind of the start. I want to talk about what got you interested in film and cinematography, and how you basically grew from there. And then at the same time, I want to try and give some tidbits to the listeners so they can hear some ideas that can help them start to do that transition, or if they've been thinking about that transition, how they can facilitate it.
Okay.
So let's start. Where was Brady first the cinematographer that he is now?
Like, very first time I touched the camera?
I think the very first time you fell in love with the camera.
Okay. Well, that's easy. I told this one on my podcast with Sambo. I was literally like 8 years old, being a menace and driving my family nuts. And my mom was into photography. She wanted to be a photographer for National Geographic, but like many people that want to get into this type of creative industry, she was afraid of the how do you say it politely?
The male-dominated sphere?
Well, no, I was going to say the insecurity of not having a full-time job, technically, being a freelancer, you know?
Yeah.
So that never really took off for her, but she still had the interest in photography. She always had cameras. She always, she was the mom with the camera. But her photos were really good. So anyway, she put a camera in my hand and said, here, I'm going to show you how to use this. At the time, Windows Movie Maker was a thing, so we filmed my sister and I fighting with lightsabers as 8-year-olds, dressed in like house coats. My parents' house coats, horrible. My dad's horrible, like brown house coat. So it looks
like a Jedi coat.
Totally looked like a Jedi, and we were just like fighting each other. And I'm sure I've got a DVD with that somewhere. Should be hilarious to look at.
Make a note of that.
But that was kind of it. Like, I remember that day vividly, and I can kind of like look back, and that moment led to like such a trajectory in my life that hasn't changed very much.
Because right from the get-go, you were telling stories.
Yeah.
Right, and that storytelling is what drew you to this. And like, I mean, I feel like if we took a camera away from you, you would just find another medium to tell a story.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm so deep into the camera part of it now that like even photography now for me is a hobby. Mm-hmm. So I keep photography for me now, where at my old job, photography was part of the job. Lifestyle photos, which lifestyle is thrown around very candidly, like very callously.
Yes.
So now that I run a production company, I keep video for me and photos. Or photos are for me, video is for my wallet.
Yeah. So you segregate the two so you don't have that spillover. Like same with me in cooking. I never want to be paid to do cooking. Mm-hmm. I love cooking. I'm a pretty decent chef, but at the same time, I don't ever want it to be something competitive or, pay based.
Yeah.
I just want to enjoy it for what it is.
That's right. And that's exactly it. Like, I want something that's for me so that when I go home at the end of the day, and I've only really just had this realization in honestly the last 2 weeks. Like, I haven't touched my photography camera in months, basically, since, outside of like filming some BTS stuff on set very quickly and handing it to like Trina or Phil. I don't touch that camera. And so I was like, oh, maybe I should sell it and get something a little easier to use. That's just like, for me, something that's more easy to use, less bulky, because for years, I've been carrying around this backpack with like a 24 to 70, 50 mil, 70 to 200, just in case.
It's a lot of gear.
It's a lot of stuff, and I don't use it now. So I'm thinking about selling that off, getting something that's nice and convenient for like, family photos, travel stuff. Yep. But for me, it's not, there's no purpose.
It becomes a toy almost.
It's a toy. Yeah. It's more of a hobbyist thing than doing it professionally. And I don't have any interest in doing photography professionally, because if I do, I'm just going to hire you.
Yeah.
And it works great.
And it's funny because when I started and we started going down the road of video, like Phil and I were dabbling with video, and Phil's very good at it and I'm decent at it. But it was like, I was looking at where you were, and you were jumps further away, but at the same time, you weren't that far away from us. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, but he lives and breathes video.
Yeah.
So why don't we just partner up and make this happen? Because then that way it just makes it easier. I know you had no interest in the actual client conversion and the actual going out.
Yeah.
That's the hard part. And like,
sales,
honestly,
I'm not good at.
And I'm not very good at sales either, but I do enjoy those client interactions, which I think
you're way better at sales than you think you are.
Really?
Yeah, I really do. Like, I think you're the way you talk and communicate your ideas to clients is leaps and bounds above almost everybody that I know, to be honest. And I'm not blowing smoke because we're on camera.
Yeah, and I was like, thank you. And that's the clip. No, wow, thank you. No, for me, it's always been about making sure that they get what they need. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much what I do. And it's like, and I'll be honest with them and say, you don't need us, right? And you've seen me do that to people. You said, like, this is overkill. Like, don't do this. Like, and then they'll still hire us, but that's fine. Yeah. It's their choice at that point.
At that point, you've given your recommendation. It's so many other business owners in your shoes wouldn't do that. They would say, "Oh, you have $5,000 to do a video, $10,000 to do a video. Thank you."
Yeah.
Pocket it and do the video that does nothing for the end client, and it defeats the purpose of the whole relationship.
Kind of a segue. I want you to go to your first job now. So like your first paid as an employee.
Yep, I know the one.
Right?
Yep.
So talk to me about that initial, so you've gone from being this camera loving kid to you started to go through school for this, right?
Yep.
And now you're out in the big wide world. Then what?
Well, I remember the first paid gig I did that was kind of, I guess you could call it freelancing, but it was a local production company hired me to do to film a wake. It was before my...
Did I hear that right?
Yeah, no, you heard that right. It was for a wake. Basically, they wanted to be able to send it overseas to family,
So it's like
family from home.
Almost like a live stream, but not live stream.
It wasn't a live stream. It was still shot like a beautiful video kind of thing. I shot it on like a T2i with my mom's old Nikon photo primes that we were adapted to the Rebel. So I had like a 50 mil 1.4 and was super stoked about it, but it was like this janky thing where like the lens kind of moved on the mount because it was the cheap like $20 adapter. So I shot that and it never led anywhere, but it was my first paid gig. It was a buddy that was like called to do this thing and he wasn't able to do it. So he's like, "Oh yeah, my buddy Brady can do it." And I did it. And then I shot weddings for a bit, as lots of filmmakers and cinematographers do. They shoot weddings.
Photographers go to that same trap. It's like, who needs the camera skills that I have?
It's the most common low-hanging fruit, I would say, is weddings.
Everybody knows someone who's getting married, and everybody knows someone who's getting married who doesn't want to spend as much, unfortunately, and it gives you the proving ground to like experiment, to play, and to learn.
And hated that. I hate filming weddings. You couldn't pay me enough to shoot a wedding. I got a message from somebody maybe a year ago to film their wedding, and I was like, I threw a crazy number out there, and then I just never heard back because it's just not my thing. And to people that love it, and teach their own. Not my thing. I fell into TV and commercials and love that. You know, I have no interest in getting into film. I thought about it when I was in school. I thought I wanted to be like working in the film industry, but now that I know more, I like variety. I don't like to stay on the same job for months and months on end. I like the variety that the commercial stuff that we're doing brings.
I remember that transition point too.
Some jobs we do, we're out in the woods one day and then the next day we're in a studio building a set. And that's basically been the last couple of weeks for us. It's so much more. It prevents you from burning out, I think.
Yep, and it's more engaging too. So your brain
so much more engaging.
Just allows you to go. I remember when we first started to work together, you were really into documentaries. That's all you wanted to do. You're like, I want to be a documentary videographer. And I remember after we'd done like the second job, I think was with you, you kind of looked at me and you're like, I really like this commercial world. Like this is fun.
I've always felt that about commercials because commercials open you up to so much creativity.
Yep.
Because you have 30 seconds. Sometimes less.
If you're lucky.
Sometimes less. We've been doing a lot of 15 seconds lately. And
I think it's to do with the algorithms.
Well, yeah, it depends on the end use. But the way you're able to try different things and be more experimental and stuff with commercials, and then also have to rein all that in and be like, all right, we need to do a bright white ad today. Lots of light and, and not the look that we would instinctively go for.
Yeah.
But
we tend to be darker though, you and I.
Yeah, definitely.
Like we like the dark, dramatic, moody.
Yeah. Yep. Like every Nike ad you've ever seen.
Yeah. Or basically. Any kind of like insert truck commercial. Whatever.
I'd love to shoot a truck ad.
It'd be so good. If you were going to shoot a truck commercial and you had your choice of truck, what truck would you shoot?
That's a good question. My instinct would say Raptor, but that's because I want one. I don't know. I see a lot of Chevy and GM ads, and I'm like, yeah, those are great. You know, Chevy driving through the mountains in snow, like the imagery in car ads is so next level. It's so beautiful.
Yeah,
I'd love to do
most
that.
of them are like CG now.
Well, yeah, I know.
Like I remember when I was learning CG and I was looking at how much in the truck world, in automotive in general, is CG now. It's astounding. But I mean, CG is literally made for that. It's so perfect.
Yeah. Well, if you only have 30 seconds to tell a story, then it's perfect.
Yeah. Like I just got a request for a quote for another CG ad. And it's like, because it's just, their product's perfect for it. It's easy. And then it's like, put it together, get a good look at it, and off it goes.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So after you'd completed that second job, you were really getting into this, and you were still employed at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. You and I did a job around this time last year.
It was May.
It was end
June.
of May.
Yeah.
Yeah, end of May, beginning of June. I worked on a big show. Like doesn't get bigger than this in Canada.
Yep. And you were running a camera?
No, I was a PA.
Okay.
I didn't touch the camera at all.
Are you allowed to release what you worked on yet, or?
I think I am, but I'd rather just not.
Okay.
It was a big show.
Yeah.
Big show. Couldn't believe that, it was in our town, and we were.
It was huge.
It was huge.
And they kept it so quiet, so well.
So I came off of that. I did 3 or 4 days on that, and then worked one job with you and made 4 times as much on one commercial gig than I did on this big show. And I went, that's when something clicked, when I was like, okay, there's something to this. Because that check that you wrote me was more than my income on that job, that freelance. The show was like a freelance type gig, and my salary at the time.
Yep.
So all of that clicked with me, and I went, okay, this can work. You don't need to do a lot of work to be able to make ends meet.
No, and in fact, I highly suggest looking at the best way of removing too much work from your weekly, right, or even your monthly. Because if you're overwhelmed, like I know right now with the build of the studio, I've been so overwhelmed that even like going out there and finding work has been tough, right? But I'm okay with that too, because we knew that we'd have like a 2-month downtime where we're mainly focused on this.
Now, you planned for it.
Days away pretty much from opening this.
Pretty much.
Like this is the very first like podcast shoot in here.
Yeah.
And then we pretty much go straight into yours for another shoot. And then hopefully we can start opening it up to our close clients, let them get an experience of it and get to feel it, and just start showing this off. Right? Because this is work in itself. So, but for the most part, when you're building out your schedule as a creative, build space. And I know it sounds counterproductive, because if you don't have that space, then you can't grow. So like, let's say we're doing a water bottle commercial, right? And we have like 5 other things to do this week. Well, you're kind of crunched on that commercial, and you don't have time to get creative and to build out these really cool ideas. When if you have the time, you can actually build out better work. And that allows you to grow faster too, because if your work is quality, right, you'll naturally grow. And the value naturally grows with it.
Yes. And that's something you told me very early on, because you and I, at my first job after college, like my first career type job, that's where we met. And you were renting space from that company. And you and I, like I recognized that you knew more about the business and you were open to talking about it, because there's a lot of, it's a weird thing in our industry that people don't want to talk about the business. It's getting better.
It's getting better.
Definitely getting better.
I would say that I've been a proponent of it.
In our local area, definitely.
Well, and just in general, like even, so I run some like online forums and stuff like that, and I still actively promote that. And so when people are getting shy, I'm like, listen, they're not going to steal your business.
No.
Right? Come at this from a viewpoint of there's plenty of work to go around, and everybody's looking for a specific thing, right? Like how you and I shoot is different to how our friends shoot.
Yep.
So there's a difference there already. So the value shouldn't be the only difference.
No.
Right? So don't worry about the value, right, of the other people. Worry about your value of what you want to bring to the table.
We can't be all things to all clients. So that's why, with my company, I've hired you to direct, because I'm not a director, and I'm good at being a DP. I can be a producer even, but I'm not a director. I can't. And as a DP and at my last job, I was able to, and I was forced to having to communicate how to present somebody to a camera.
Yep.
But when you're doing so many other things, it doesn't work out that well. And it was something I knew that I didn't want to do. So I've hired you as a director, and it works out great because you're able to bring something to the table that I can't.
And that scared the shit out of me. Like when you came to me and you're like, oh yeah, can you direct a commercial for me? And I was like, I have no idea what a director does. I don't understand what I'm supposed to even like, what do I do? And I remember you just sitting there saying, just do what you do on a photo set. Just be you.
In motion.
In motion.
Yep.
Right. And I just need you to tell people to come on set, do their thing and leave. Right. But allow it to be motion instead of a still. And I was like, okay. Like, is there anything special? No, just worry about it. And then I had Zambo in the corner, like shouting at me, like, you gotta shout action, or you're just like, you gotta, and I'm like, ah, and I've got like these hockey players whipping by, and then this angry looking camera guy, and I'm just like, okay, you action, and I had like the client in my ear. It was the most weird thing to feel, to go through, but at the same time, I know that if you told me all of those things, I would have A, forgotten them probably, and B, it just would have been so much more stressful. But going into it with like no idea of what I was getting into.
It's trial by fire.
Trial by
really,
fire.
Literally. Yeah. Like there's no other way to learn how to direct other than to like get in and direct.
Yeah.
And you hear that from all of the biggest directors. Like if you can learn how to direct, and you hear all the time students like that can quote every famous director, Scorsese, whoever. Same with DPs. People that want to be DPs, they can quote like, shoot into the L of the room, shoot, into the shadow side. Unless you're doing it, it doesn't matter.
It sounds like everything you say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I say it, but then I also do it.
Yeah. So you've got this newfound business that's coming your way, and you're still working at this point.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that transition, because I feel like this is a really important part where a lot of people don't really talk about, or they gloss over. They're like, put enough money away and then just make the jump.
I didn't have enough money put away.
So
I'll be totally honest. I didn't have nearly enough money put away.
So you just decided to build the parachute on the way down.
Well, I was kind of forced into it, but yeah. Like I had enough, and my fiance and we weren't engaged at the time. She told me, and we talked about it for a year. So last January of 2022, I bought my first cinema camera, which now you own.
Yes.
And I shit my pants.
Yeah.
On that purchase, it was like a $3,600 camera, and I couldn't believe I could afford it.
Yeah.
But it was like half my savings to buy this, cinema camera.
Yeah.
I did it because I knew it was an investment in me.
Yeah.
It was also a leap, but it was an investment in me, and I knew at the top of last year that this was the year that it was going to happen. Regardless of how it happened, I needed to do the next thing for me. And I was like, I had a bunch of friends that were going freelance, and it seemed like the natural progression. So I was like, okay, this year I'll start to invest in myself. But I didn't have enough money saved. I know I didn't. I had enough that I could get by for a couple months, but it wasn't like I could get by for 6 to 12 months with no jobs, no work. Like I would have been screwed. But, I didn't listen to any of your advice is the point.
I told you that you needed to, but didn't mean you had to.
Yeah. But my fiance was very...
Like I'm the same way. I did not, when I was getting ready for this, there's only so much talking about it you can do.
At some point you got to act.
You just got to act and hope that it's going to work. And I still remember like sitting down with you when I was pulling the trigger on this place, and it was almost verbatim the same conversation that we'd had a year earlier.
Yeah.
Well, not even, it was like less than a year earlier, where it's like there comes a point where you just have to make that decision and, and hit enter and off you go.
Yeah.
Like for you, it was an email.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll get to that. Em and I talked about it a lot. Like we sat down and we figured out, what was the lowest amount of money that I needed to make sure that my bills were paid.
Yep.
What was my base? If I can cover my base, then I'm good. And I had connections. Like I knew that I could get work from certain places. Yep. I didn't know at all how it was going to pan out.
Balloon, yeah.
But I knew that I would be okay. But that I was at the ceiling at that job, and there was nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
So Em was like, you've thought about this enough. You just have to do it. And we hit September, and I wrote my resignation email. I was like, today's the day. I'm going to do it. And I called you, and I was like, dude, I can't hit send. Like, I've had this written. I sent Em a screenshot of it, and she read it, and she was like, looks great. You're very professional. You're very firm on your positioning. Hit send. And I called you because I was like, I can't do it. I don't know why I can't do it. Everything else is set up. I had my bank account set up for the company. I had all the tax info ready. I was ready, but I couldn't hit send on the email because I had been there for 6 years, and it just felt weird.
It's almost like you feel like when you close that chapter, you can't come back. So you just want one more page before you close that chapter.
Yeah.
Just in case it's, the best chapter.
Yeah, exactly right.
Because it was a good chapter.
It was a great chapter. I learned so much from that job, and I was able to travel the world.
Yeah.
Or the world, North America.
North America.
I was able to travel. A lot. And see some really, really cool places and film some cool stuff and work on some great ads with some great brands. And it just felt weird to let that go and go, all right, now the rest is on me.
Yeah.
But you talked me into it. I hit send, and then I got a text from the boss, and it was like, no hard feelings, no worries.
Yep.
Everything's good.
Yep.
And here we are.
Here we are. So then you've gone through those emotions of excitement, kind of
horror,
terror. How did it feel the morning after sending that and waking up knowing that there was nothing planned out for you?
Mm-hmm.
There was no, you have to show up at 9:00.
There was such a immediate release of stress after I sent the email. I can't even really describe it. It was like all of the pressure of last year was like gone. I was lucky that I had one commercial gig lined up going into that resignation. It was already in the works, and I was like, okay, if I let this go, I'm good because I've got at least one job. So that floats me. At worst, it would float me to the end of the year. Yeah. So I quit in September. It would float me through to the new year.
And that was the job that you ended up getting me to direct?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a hockey ad.
Yeah. Which was amazing.
Yeah.
That was your first job. Talk about, usually your first job when you go out and freelance, just so you know, is usually someone's friend's coffee bar, and you go out and you shoot a 30-second reel for them. I was like, and that's your... But you were lucky and had this group of people who are like, yeah, let's bring him in.
Yeah.
Right? He's young. He's got some ideas. Let's see what they can do. And it'll pay it out.
And it was a gamble on their part, for sure.
Absolutely.
It was a big gamble that they were going to move forward with me at the helm. And but it worked out great. And it's spawned into you and I doing countless ads together and bringing in a whole crew now. Now we have it's still a small crew. Don't get me wrong. It's not, we're not walking in.
It's a capable crew.
Yeah. We're not walking in with, over a dozen people on set. We've got 6 people.
I think
we've got some missing.
So if we talk let's talk about our, what I would like to consider skeleton crew now, which is basically you and I, Trina, Phil, and Chris. It's what I would like to call our skeleton crew now, because I don't see us needing less. But I see us needing more, right? When it really comes into it, when you go into a space where you have to build something specific for a client, having that crew ready to go is key, and that crew can deliver everything we need at not the lowest level, but at a level that we deem, acceptable.
Yep. So you act as we both kind of pull double, triple, quadruple duty maybe. You basically act as the agency now, and you find the work.
Yep.
And you provide a lot of marketing strategy along with that, which is huge because short of going to a big agency, you can hire a production company to make you an ad, but they're going to make you an ad and go, here's the file.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yep.
Come call us again when you want another one.
Yeah.
And then they never call again because there's no tangible
But it horrifies
result.
Me that people still do this, right? It's you've worked hard to make this money that you're going to now spend into advertising, right? If at the bare minimum, know who you're going to send it to, right? Who's going to see this ad and say, oh, I need that product or I need that service. You have to start there. And I find that a very frustrating thing where you see all these people, like they'll literally get an ad land on their lap, and the ad agency or the marketing agency don't have a target demo for them.
It's like
we've
the
done
basics.
that. We've sat there and said like, well, who's your target? And they're like, everybody. We want everyone to like our ad. Well, that can't happen.
That's not realistic
It's
at
not
all.
realistic. And like you're marketing to so many people, you're never going to get your target audience.
Yeah.
Ever. Because you need to niche down and you need to be very specific, right? And so that's why we start talking about like target personas, right? And we'll talk about, would this person like this, right? And so like that's the thing with having a crew, is by telling them that they can all channel that in the right direction, right? So with a small crew, you can perform at a much higher level. And I would say that building out a small crew, it's doing it a disservice by calling it small, because it's just it's a capable crew. So like, yes, it's called a skeleton crew, but it's a very capable crew.
But we should say that in our area, this doesn't exist. Like we're outside of Toronto. We're not in Montreal. We're not in Ottawa. We're in between.
Yep.
And you can hire somebody to make you an ad, but it's going to be one guy shooting, directing, producing, writing, editing, coloring, everything. Where when we show up, we bring a director, producer.
Yep.
You're the director.
Yep.
/ creative director for the agency. So you know the whole concept for the marketing campaign.
Yep.
I'm producer DP. So when you come to me with an idea, I put the crew together to figure out how to make it work and what it's going to cost.
Yeah.
So you and I end up going back and forth on pricing a
bit
lot.
of sparring. And it's like,
it is.
People, like my clients probably think that like Ash just disappears behind a door and then they run around with some numbers and then come back and like, here you go.
Yeah.
And it's like this really big number, but they're really effective. So we just go with it. But it's like, there's a lot of sparring. Like I'll come to you and say, well, no, right? They're not going to want to spend that. Like, how do we cut down that cost? Or how do we?
Then we have to rein in the idea, and then it's frankly it's the producer coming in and raining on the director's parade.
Yeah.
In that case, so you'll come to me with a
balance too, right? Like I find you and I balance each other out well for that, because like the clients get the absolute best that we can offer them at where they're willing to go.
That's right.
Right.
So our crew is you and I.
Yep.
And we both pull double duty. I'm the producer DP.
Yep.
Then we've got Phil, who you've worked with for years, and Chris, and Trina. And these three also wear multiple hats.
Yes.
I should say I also have to run audio a lot, and I hate it because we don't have a sound guy.
Did you notice that Phil really liked doing audio the other day?
Is that true, Phil? Do you like audio?
I like holding the boom.
The boom, okay. That's close.
I'm okay with being a microphone stand.
We call them, was it the voice activated light stand, the VALs? Yep.
That's funny.
In the photo industry, yeah.
So you and Phil have worked together for a long time. He was basically your grip in photography.
Yeah. So
your assistant, your photo assistant.
Yeah, Phil and I met while doing a race at my kid's school. And then we just hit it off. And then I'm like, hey, what do you do? And he's like, oh, I'm a programmer, web designer. I'm like, cool. Do you have free time? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, would you like to make money in your free time? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, can you hold a big shiny stand up like this? He's like, yeah.
I can do that.
He was hired.
Yeah.
It's like he had all the prerequisites. And it was funny because I just hit a point where I was maxed out. Like I was absolutely maxed out. And I'm like, I need someone to just, if I want to push my work to where it needs to go, I need someone to stand there and look after this light stand. And we only had like 1 or 2 light stands back then.
Yeah.
Right. And so like building that out. And then
isn't that hilarious?
It is, right? When you look back in our like studio now, it's like, it doesn't, everybody sees that now. They don't see the 10 years of like running around with 1 light stand and a tiny little camera, you know, like they don't see that. They see, you know, they see reds, they see big, beautiful lights, and they see a full grown set there, you know, and it's like, but they don't see the years, the progression. Progression, yeah.
So,
so Phil's
to get back on track.
Yeah, Phil's been here a while. Yeah.
Phil and Chris are lighting people.
Yeah.
Chris has a ton of experience on real big sets.
Yeah.
He comes with very legitimate credits.
It baffles me that he's with us sometimes.
Yeah,
like,
it baffles
how?
me too. Yeah.
Like, he's like, oh yeah, when we were rigging this for Drake, and I was like Drake?
Yeah, like the Drake at his house.
Yeah.
So he's a grip.
Yeah.
So when he started working with us,
transitioned to gaffer.
He became my gaffer.
Yeah. So what's the difference between the gaffer and a grip? Because I know a lot of people think they know what they are, because I thought I knew what they were.
Yeah.
So what does a grip do and what does a gaffer do?
Well, a gaffer is a little slightly more theoretical, I guess, because as the DP, Chris and I work together on how we're going to achieve a look. And then Chris takes that theory of how we're going to do it and puts it into practice with Phil.
Okay.
So we're very like small scale set in comparison, right? Like but in our world, non-union as well, Chris and I go back and forth on, okay, we could use this fixture and this fixture and figure out how to achieve something. And then he goes away, I stay by the camera, and him and Phil rig everything and get it just so.
Yeah.
Looking right and looking right safely, because Chris is our resident safety guy.
And he does really well. So on Friday, I had the joy of being assistant director, which I found out, again, there's another role that I've never done before, and I had to learn all these things. And so you guys were teaching me all this, like, camera speeding, audio speeding,
new lingo,
slate it, all this new lingo. And it was very fun to learn. And, make sure you keep the director, like, on point, and then make sure the crew is safe, and make sure, like, if there's anything wrong, talk to Chris. And so, like, as an AD, I quickly grew to understand what the gaffers need, like, where he needs to be, right? And
why it needs to be
why
safe.
it needs to be safe, yeah.
You got so many people running around on a set.
Well, and Phil and I haven't exactly always done the safest setups before. So it's like seeing Chris come in and be like,
That's true on almost every small scale set, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
When especially in our case, when we're building these sets, not even physically, but we're creating the set environment that didn't exist here. I think a lot of people are doing that.
I don't know of anybody who's doing it.
I don't mean
like
here, but I mean like when people are trying to get off the ground with their production company, they'll just, take all of their equipment out and, we'll just rig this over here and it'll be fine. Well, is it safe? Yeah. Is anybody going to walk under it? Is it going to tip over when somebody walks under it?
Yep.
Where is the talent going to be? Are we booming a light over the talent? How are we going to safely secure that so when they walk under it for the scene, it doesn't fall on their heads and then, there's an insurance
You would have been
claim.
Proud of me today. I put the mic over the client, just out of the frame.
Yep.
Got all set up, got the big leg sitting there so it wouldn't tip towards him.
Yep.
And then he stood up to go get something and whacked his head on the microphone.
Did you sandbag it? No. You didn't sandbag it. I know you didn't.
No. There's a microphone. Where's it going?
Still sandbag it. Chris should have been there.
Chris should have been there. So,
But yeah, so Chris has been a huge help in getting this whole studio off the ground. Him and Phil and Trina, all of them have contributed a lot.
I think, but all of you guys, like, I would still be sitting in an empty warehouse if I was by myself right now, sitting there going like, was this a good choice? I think like the crew have done such a good job in this place.
It's been a very interesting experience to see everybody rally.
Yeah. And I know we've talked about that in the web series before, and I can't wait to share more of where we are.
Yeah, gotta do that.
Episode 2, it's been a few months ago now.
Month? Come on, we've been in here for 2 months.
I'm getting so many, and I know this sounds stupid, but I'm getting regular emails and messages on YouTube from people going like, when's the next video? It's like, fuck, we're working here.
Yeah. I'm also trying to, run a business and you're running your business.
Yeah. So, we knew that would be the case. It's coming. It's coming soon.
But yeah, the crew is like the way it came together has been so organic too.
Yes.
Chris and I we went to the same college in film and TV, and we didn't talk, I don't think at all in college. It wasn't until we both came back to the program to start teaching that we, connected and started chatting and sharing experiences. And we had a lot of shared experiences, just, a few months apart or whatever. Yep. And he fit into our workflow so well because he's so easy to get along with. And then he's also able to take a bit of a leadership role and ownership of the lighting and the rigging. And now I don't have to be like, hey, everything safe? Are we good? While also running the camera and worrying about the framing and working with you.
Yep.
We've got to a nice spot where everything's kind of broken up.
Siloed
Enough that you and I can focus on
Yeah.
what we actually have to do. You can focus on the concept. You don't even touch lights anymore on set, which is
So the way
talk to me
around
about
it,
that.
I
How's
want to
that?
talk to you about that because that has been a journey. Because Phil knows as much as anybody how much I love lighting, and there's been the defining feature, I'd say, between me and other photographers locally is where they would go out and they take a camera and take some beautiful shots, and there are a lot of amazing photographers. I always focused on how can I light this differently? How can I build that emotion with light?
Mm-hmm.
And that paid out in the long run because I started to learn all these different techniques that translated really well into video. As a result, my love of light continued into video. So I still love learning stuff like book lighting and all that. But the difference is now I have this angry Canadian between me and the light guys.
Is it me or Chris?
Yes, you. Saying, let them do their job. Just tell us what we need. And so my way around that was to make they started as, we used to call them pitch decks. And now they've become treatments because that's a bit more in line with what the industry calls them. The art of the pitch deck and the art of the treatment is allowing the director to brain vomit onto page and then give it to someone to make into something that's actually a viable solution to something. So when I come to you and say, I need this shot of, this little girl sitting in the truck looking at this doll, and it needs to be a very somber moment, you know how to light it. I don't need to sit there and say, okay, give me a large key over here, give me the kicker here, and all. And that, like, Phil knows how much time is spent on set when he and I shoot, where I'm just like, okay, give me this, give me that. And after a while, he would be setting up stuff. And I'd feel the need to move it just to be like, no, I had my hand in this. But
Yeah, I did something.
Knew it was going to move back to exactly where it was and be like, yep. But I'm like, yeah, actually just move it back where it was. That's good. Now just like feather
I
it
still
a bit.
do that, by the way.
I know you do. Because sometimes you just
Bring
want
that down a bit.
Yeah, sometimes you just
Bring
want
that
to
down a
feel
bit.
that, right?
Oh, that's good. And Chris will be like,
So-
I didn't touch it.
That's the trick.
Yeah.
If you ever get to that point, so if you're a young director that's come in from the photography background and you find yourself very anxious, build that out in a form that's physical that someone can take and run with, and then walk away from it and just watch the screen and watch your dream come to reality, or your vision of what it should be come to reality. And then when it's there, then you can make some tweaks. Because then you sit there and be like, well, now that it's there, it doesn't feel that somber, and like it doesn't feel that like dire. Let's add some like red backlight. Now that's getting a bit more like darker, That's the transition point.
Yeah. If you can't trust your crew, you've got the wrong crew,
Yeah.
frankly.
And you don't need to have a crew. Like I'll be the first to say is like,
No, you
the
don't.
crew works for us.
It helps a lot.
And for what we make, it helps a ton. But you can do this on a solo, just you can't do it at the scale.
No, it's
Right?
not scalable to do it yourself.
No.
The only way to scale it up
Yeah.
is to bring in other people.
Yeah.
Now there's a double-edged sword to that, meaning you now have to up your prices dramatically.
It's not just like double your price if you bring two people in.
Yeah.
Like
it's
people
not
think that.
when
It's
I
just not that way.
quote a job with you,
Yep.
it's not just my day rate. Not me as a DP. It's
Because you're the
included.
heavy hitter,
It's included in that.
right? Because the DP's a heavy hitter on the creative fees. The director's a heavy hitter. The producer can be a heavy hitter.
Yep.
Stylists and technicians are kind of mid,
Yep.
right? So then when you start getting into that, it's hard.
When I approach a job, when you come to me with a concept and we spar back and forth on what the budget needs to be and how you need to approach that, I then have to look at it and say, okay, this concept requires, maybe it requires twice as many crew.
Yeah.
Which means my pricing needs to reflect that so that I still hit my profit margin so that I can run my company.
Yeah.
And that's been I love it, actually.
I'm so proud of you right
learning.
now. I'm like,
I love
you just said
having.
my company without flinching.
Yeah.
And like to me, like seeing you go through that progress, seeing you go from being that employee to freelancer, right? When you first came out, you're like, I'm going to slug a camera. I'm going to kill these TV shows. And you even did a few TV shows.
Yep.
And then you sat there and you're like, man, I really like this idea of like, production teaming it. I really like that. And then when
I love
when your
having
ad
a
came
team.
out, I think it was the hockey ad solidified it for you. I could see the change in you where you were just like, yep. You could see you looking around and be like, this doesn't need to be a lonely road.
I had this theory when I left, when I went out on my own, that this ad the budget was big enough that I didn't need to just do it myself. And I couldn't just do it myself. Not to the extent that I wanted to do it and to hold myself to the standard and to blow the last, company that, the last ad out of the water.
Everybody wants to do that, by the way. It's never,
I know.
You never walk into a situation and look back at the ads that they've done before and be like, oh, I hope I equal this.
Yeah.
You're always like, oh,
You want to do better.
Better.
So the only way to do that was to say, okay, this big budget, it was not a small budget. It was a big budget, not a giant, but it was a solid budget. I can't pocket all that.
No.
I need to look at this as a project.
Yep.
And bring in people to serve the project. I still made out well enough to run the company for a few more months.
Yep.
But I also made sure that everybody got paid well.
Yeah.
Because the worst thing in the world to me, having started out not that long ago, is the way in non-union we can just say, here's $200.
Yep. It's hard, isn't it?
It's hard.
And that's why when we sat down in the initial kind of meetings and we sat down and we went through what the real value is of each team member. Mm-hmm. Like, what does it cost to get a grip on site and have them be happy to show up on set? What does it cost to have a director on site and have them happy on set?
Yeah.
Right? All of those we wrote down.
And we had those very frank conversations with our team, and we were like, what do you need?
Yeah.
When I started talking to Chris, and Chris came on as an editor on a project that I am producing, and then we started talking some more, and I was like, what would you rates be to be my key grip or my gaffer? And he threw a number at me, and he was like, I'll bring it down a bit, so because it's you. And we found somewhere that both of us were happy, and now after one job, I'm like, I don't want to do a shoot without Chris as my gaffer, like, ever. No, because it's so seamless.
It simplifies it and allows you to actually make better product as a result too. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, I'm looking at what we just showed clients there, and that stuff is fantastic. But at the same time, we're moving beyond that already.
Yeah. And we shot that in like February.
Months. Yeah. So I feel like the speed we're moving forwards now is unprecedented. Mm-hmm. Period. Like, I mean, like, if you look back at our first video commercial, do you remember that one? Right? And then you look at where we are now. Yeah. Like, Phil's putting his hand up in the air, guys. You can't see him. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Miming. Love it.
Yeah. I always wanted to make sure that the crew gets paid the most. And I know at some point that's going to bite me in the ass because I won't pay myself enough.
It won't. If you're
smart, in the short term.
No, if you're smart, so like the way I budget it is the majority of the budget goes into people. I always said I'd rather spend money on people than on things. Yeah. Right. So that's the key, is like, just make sure you're always being conscious of like, obviously you have a business to run and you have a company to run, and you have overhead that you just, people want to get paid, like, your truck doesn't run on air. So you need to make sure you keep that going and so forth. But people are predominantly the main cost in any business, right? They call it the human capital, they call it, right? So it's like, that is exactly what it is. Right? And if you invest heavily in that, you can find that crew will not only be happy doing it, but they'll happily help you bring you up. And it will naturally.
And look at what they've done. They came in here for no money to build this studio out and rallied behind us.
Absolutely awe-inspiring. Like, I've never felt this way and never had a team around me like this, ever. And to see it come together like this is an emotional thing, right? It's like, I remember, like, when you and I stood there and, like, they were painting around, and we kind of looked just like, holy crap, like, this is happening. Yeah. And, people are rallying around it.
People are here on their days off when they've got nothing else to do.
Like the weekend.
Yeah.
Like, I had my family come down, and there was so many people in here who didn't need to be here. In fact, there was probably way better things they could have been doing. Yep. But they chose to be here to see this grow. And I feel like that is the magic of this studio. It's not our studio. Let's be honest. It's this.
We facilitated it, but that's it.
It's the community studio. Yep. Right? Like, we've had more people shooting in here that aren't us recently than us. Yep. And that's cool. I like that.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. I just can't wait to, keep the ball rolling. And
so I want to start something in my podcast, which is the how do I. Mm-hmm. Okay. So as a young creative, how do I get into making my imagery more cinematic?
Okay.
So I'm a young guy, I'm straight out of college, like Loyalist or something like that. I started to build my portfolio, right? And a lot of it looks very video recorded.
Yep.
I need
Video-y.
to be, video-y. I want to become cinematic. Tell me some ways that, how do I become more cinematic as an artist?
Well, there's technical ways and there's creative theoretical ways. If you think of filmmaking as just pretty imagery, you're looking at it the wrong way already. So you need to approach every project with what imagery supports the story is kind of the first step. And they teach you that in school is, stories first, stories king, focus on that and you'll be fine. And it took me years to create a look and a vibe that I'm known for now. I think in this area, it's not a unique vibe. There's lots of people that can shoot the way I shoot and lots that shoot better than how I shoot. But start with the story. If you can't bend your style to fit the story, then you've already lost. Like the thing we just shot in here in the studio is not the style at all of mine. I like handheld. I like, being off sticks. I don't like stabilizers unless it's very motivated.
Yep.
I like the feeling of the camera shaking and like it's there. It's a very documentary style vibe. It's, most sports ads are that way and they're shaky and they're, it feels very raw and organic. And I like that look.
And there's energy to it.
There's energy to it. So I like that look. But when a project comes up that doesn't need that and you can't put your ego aside and say, my inherent style, the way I would like to shoot this doesn't fit that, you've already lost. If you can't do that, you've already lost. So I've had to learn to make sacrifices on my own ego for the sake of the project, and typically that pays off. As far as the technical things, there's lots that you can do. I don't think a shallow depth of field actually means that a shot is more cinematic. And I think that's, it's
a misnomer.
Maybe a hot take, because, all these YouTube creators, I still like shooting wide open, but it's this big thing, shoot with the lens wide open and it's more cinematic. It's not. Watch any movie. There's lots of stuff that's a very deep focus.
You'll see that low depth of field only when there's motions that are overwhelming, pain, or confusion.
It's motivated. Everything you do needs to be motivated by the story. So
Shocker.
It goes right back to that.
Yeah. So if you were to summarize what you're saying is look at your portfolio, find the stories, develop out the stories, develop out the look to go with those stories that match the emotive kind of nature of that.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. And if we want to get technical, softening filters.
Yep.
If you've never used a softening filter before as a student, I only discovered them a couple years ago.
It was when you're on the set of Stony Lonesome.
No, it was even before that.
Before that?
It was a little before that. Softening filters make the highlights bloom.
Yep.
They help, soften skin a little bit.
They're also known as mist filters, right?
There's mist, there's satin, there's there's a whole bunch of different options, and you need to find the ones you like. I've made my own even, and they look great.
How did you make your own?
Cheap piece of 4x5 glass with hairspray.
And you just spray it on?
One spray from far away, and
so
it won't even wipe off.
Bespoke look.
It's very custom.
Yeah.
It's not controllable, but it works. So that helps give you that filmy vibe. Film grain helps your filmy vibe, especially as we shoot digital and high resolution, and we've got these super sharp lenses.
Yep.
They actually make people look
too real,
too video-y, and too sharp. It's funny because we spend all this money on cameras that shoot 8K, 12K, and then we try to muddy up the image so it looks lower resolution.
I'm really glad the resolution race is done. I don't
I don't know that it is.
I don't think it is to the extent,
It's
but it's
slowed
still
down.
not what it was. Like I remember buying like, you know, a 6 megapixel camera, and then suddenly it was like an 8 megapixel camera, and then there's a 10, and then a 12. And I remember when the 21 megapixel hit, and then that was the moment. It was like the 5D Mark One.
Yep.
And I remember shooting with that, going, cameras can't get any better. This is as good as film.
And they continue to get better.
And now they're better than film.
Yeah.
Which I
Not
know
70
the
mil
internet's
film.
going to absolutely hate me now when I say
Yeah.
that. Yeah, but not 70 mil. But I mean, and they're building yet another larger film stock now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is insane.
Don't get hung up in the technical, I would say.
Yep.
There's lots of things that you can do for cheap, like spraying a filter with hairspray to achieve looks.
Yep.
You know, you don't need to go out and spend, you know, like a black satin or a black pro mist. It could cost you $500 US
Yeah.
or more. I don't even know what they're actually worth now.
Yeah, I think I was looking at one the other day for the Polar Pro, and it's like 250 US. So it's like
Yeah, see, that would be a good price.
$340.
That'd be a good price.
Yeah. But then I need the
And-
extra box on the front, and it's like, yeah, it's never ending.
So when you're getting started, all that's very intimidating. But if you can just find cheap ways to achieve a look, it's all in the look.
Yep.
You know, how you did it is kind of besides the point. You know, there's the Hollywood approach where everything's like very, you know, these are the processes. We don't fuck with the processes. But all that matters is what's up here. If it's not up here on the screen,
It doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter at all.
So how do I get started as an artist in this field? So I have no cameras, right? So we've got a blank slate. You have a student in front of you who has no idea on how to get started, right? He just knows he wants to get into this field. What's the best way to get started in this field?
I mean, I hate to say it, but offer your services for free. You know, don't do it for too long. And you've
Would
been
you put a number on that?
No, I think
Like
you know.
5 times?
I think you know.
Yeah.
I think you need to feel it out.
I would
You'll hit a point where you feel like you're starting to know stuff. I think once you start to feel like you know something, then you can say, okay, there's a dollar value to this.
I would say never work for free for the same people more than twice to build out the experience. As long as you're getting the experience, right? If by that second time you're still if you're still learning a bunch, then go for that third time. But if you're not learning as much as you did in the first round, if you've got as much information as you need, then move on to the paid and to build it out. Because the problem is you get trapped in that, you know, that guy who works for free, and you end up being that guy that comes out and shoots like, you know, BTS for $50.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't want to be that guy.
No, you don't want to be that guy. But you need to have somebody at work to show.
Yeah.
And if that means, you know, you can shoot stuff on your own for free.
Yep.
You may need to invest in a camera that is hard to afford.
Rent it.
Rent it. You can rent a Red for, I don't know,
$350
for a weekend.
Yep.
That's a Red camera that they shoot big blockbuster movies on.
And anybody
$350.
who's getting into this industry
Now you need insurance.
probably heard about a Red camera already. So like it's easy to get into those, but that can be a trap.
Yeah. If you want to get into it, if you want to get into this industry, you need to start somewhere. And my old professor in college told everybody straight up, like, you might need to flip burgers for a long time to make this dream happen. If you want it to happen, you'll make it happen.
Yep.
How that works is totally unique to the individual. For me, I went to school, got an internship because the school dictated that I needed to have a second year and a third year internship.
Yep.
My program was 3 years. So I got my foot in the door at a production company, and then that turned into a job, and now here we are. So
Running your own
that
production
blueprint
company.
doesn't necessarily apply even now, because when I was in school, YouTube was not new, but it was like teaching yourself through the internet was not
and there's
appreciated like it is
skits
now.
and stuff, and
It wasn't appreciated like it is now. Where if you're self-taught now, it's like, you know, as long as you got the skills, who cares?
Yeah.
I know lots of people that run their own production companies and are successful camera operators and stuff. They never went to school for it. They just picked up a camera and started doing it.
if you look at YouTube as a great example. YouTube is the great level playing field almost, right? Because anyone can make it big on that channel, on that platform. And that's why new platforms coming out like TikTok and stuff like that are very exciting, because they offer you a platform where it allows you to grow and to become something bigger. So
Yeah.
I want to wrap up with one final thing, which is, where do you see your company in the next couple of years?
I would like to see my company doing bigger ads and growing and actually building out a bigger, and I've even thought about recently, like we need to build out a bigger roster of people that we have, in our mix.
Yep.
They don't need to be on every job, but just people that we have in our circle.
Yep. Was it bringing in the new BTS guy where you're like, wow, bringing in one extra guy can make a big difference?
There's that, and that we, I don't want to overwhelm all of our current people with too many responsibilities. Like if Phil can't just focus on gripping, then stuff gets missed, and we don't get stuff.
Standing there with a boom.
Yeah, if he's got a boom and rig everything, then naturally something's going to get missed. So building that out more, we have gaps in our roster already. We don't have a sound guy. My sister just started doing, production design for us, and that'll be periodically. But to not have an audio guy, to not have a consistent PA, consistent BTS person, we need to fill out some roles, and then start taking on bigger jobs and involving the whole crew and things, and just keep pushing that envelope forward. I want to keep doing spec ads, and showing what we can do when there's no client, interference, for lack of a better term. When the client is, paying the bill for everything, naturally they're going to, want their input, and that's fine. But when you're in a creative process, sometimes that feels like they're getting in the way. Where I want to have a portfolio full of stuff where it's very obvious that we did exactly what we saw from start to finish. So I just want to keep pushing the envelope and just take things up a notch. I don't see the need to, start producing films and stuff like that. I have a couple documentary passion projects that I want to do, for the company, and to keep advertising for the company. But really, I just want to keep one-upping ourselves. And I feel like every once in a while we go on a shoot where we're like, yeah, that wasn't it. That wasn't our best.
I find that after those shoots,
after those shoots, there's a fire lit, and I want to keep finding how to light that fire, and not
stumbling on it.
Not stumbling. And not naturally you're going to stumble, but if we can keep pushing this the way we have been, and growing budgets and showing what we can do creatively, I think then we're well on our way to something really successful. And in our area, we've had lots of little production companies pop up. They pop up, they're around for a few years, and then they disappear, and they're never heard from again.
Let's not.
I don't want to be that production company. I don't want Amp Studios to be that studio. And I don't want your agency to be that agency. I want us to be a consistent pillar in the community. I want, to see this area continue to grow with our industry, because frankly, there was a hole to fill, and we filled it.
We're here. Thank you, Brady.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm sure there'll be plenty more.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And where can people find you? On Instagram, on the socials, your website?
My Instagram is @BradyDRogers. And then my personal website is @BradyDRogers.com. I guess not @ www, whatever. And then my Infusion Visuals